The first thing we're going to talk about today is the importance of understanding the metaphysics of the world that you live in and how you relate to it and how your experiences of it relate. So first of all, we'll define a few words again. So we'll define the word karma again. So you know what karma is. Karma is the response of the universe to your actions. It's the reaction of the universe against your actions. So whatever you put out into the universe, it will weigh it up, it will tally it up, it will balance it against what truth is, and then it will respond by giving you a reaction which tells you fire burns. Don't touch fire again. It's not truth to touch fire. It doesn't work. So if you go around doing things which are negative or against truth, truth will burn you. And it won't burn you because it doesn't love you, or burn you because it burns. And that's just the way it is. Okay? So karma will teach you how the universe operates. Simply by fire burns. You can't jump into water and not breathe. You will drown. You can't just whack anybody over the head. They may whack you back. If we're not responded to by the universe, we won't know what's right and wrong. So the universe has to respond to us, and that's unfortunate, but it is the way that it is. So that's what karma is. Samskara are the grooves of thought that etch their way through your consciousness as you go from lifetime to lifetime. So the things you repeat over and over again will etch their way into your consciousness, and they'll be with you when you're born again in one lifetime, and then next lifetime and next lifetime. You can't avoid them. They will become your natural way of being. They say we're creatures of habit, but most of the habits are in our consciousness. So if you're left to your default setting, that's how you behave, according to your samskaras. If you're left to be a person who's going to react to anything, you'll react according to your samskaras. They are your personality, they are your character, they are your nature, they are who you are as a being operating in the world. That's your patterns. They're your samskaras. Remember the word samskara by the word scar. It's scarred into you. A word very similar to that is samsara, which is samskara without the K, and it's the world of delusion that is happening around you. So the samsara is the world around you, the creative world that we live in, the universe, the delusion. It's the place where everyone's samskaras and karmas are operating, where their dharma and their life paths are operating. This is the samsara, the place where we are. No one is there to cause you harm. They are there to remind you of your weaknesses so that you may set about growing. No one is there to cause you harm. They are there to remind you of your weaknesses so you can set about growing. According to the law of Chikri metaphysics, each person in your samsara, each person in your world is a karmic manifestation of your samskaras. So each person in your samsara, in your world, is a karmic manifestation of your own samskaras, your own patterns. They are a response to your own patterns. In other words, your world is built from your mind entirely. Your world, the world that you see, is built from your mind entirely. And those who challenge your happiness demonstrate a living lesson for you to learn from, which is for your own good, and most notably was designed by your own consciousness. I'll read that again. So each person that challenges your happiness demonstrates a living lesson for you to learn from, which is for your own good, and most notably was designed by your own consciousness. That's the freaky bit. That's the bit that you can't complain about. That's the bit that makes you go, oh. This being the case, the pain from each sorrow is an alarm bell in your being's own security system, warning you that a developmental step is needed from you. So each time you feel pain and sorrow, that pain is an alarm ringing in your head, telling you, I've hit the most I can do, and now I've hit a point where I'm about to enter into darkness again. Set the alarm off. There's a point I need to learn. That's what pain is. It's you getting closer to hell. But it's your own security system warning you that you need to do a developmental step of learning. It's beautiful. It's your own alarm system. Everyone is just characters in your own drama. When bad things happen, just stop and say, no. I know this is my poisonous samskara playing out in front of me, and all I need to do to win is chill out for a moment and find the wisdom here for me to learn from. So you stop, you say, hold on a second, I can see what's happening here. It's the samskaras and negative patterns in my head playing out in the world, and I'm supposed to not react and get deeper into it, but stop, relax and say, what am I supposed to learn here? Why is my security system going off in my head and alarm bells ringing like I'm about to go into hell? I must be going in towards hell. I need to stop this and learn what I need to get above this point. When you are angered or upset, it is you ringing that alarm bell in your own consciousness that has been programmed to wake you up from delusion. So when you are upset or angered, it is you ringing your own alarm bell in your own consciousness that has been programmed by you to say you need to wake up from delusion. Therefore, the pain caused by the world is a great thing. Now we twist it round. Therefore, the pain caused by the world is a great thing. It is a reminder of your state within and what you need to address. That is why Chikri says, celebrate your struggles, for only through them shall you prosper. I'm not talking about you being a world changer and fighting the world. I'm talking about you and you. That's the first thing you learn to fight. Yogananda said it's all well and good trying to save the world, but first sort yourself out. And 99% of the time, people that are trying to correct things on the outside have no interest in correcting things on the inside. And it's a moment that it grows you and matures you and tells you, look, every single thing I see in my world is a reflection of my mind. I've brought these people to life because they're going to show me what I need to learn. Imagine if all the lessons that you had to learn were just stuck in your head somewhere. Like, how would you know unless you felt something? So it's projected out of you, and that's your samsara. All the people in your life, there's two types of people, those that reward you and those that challenge you. There's only two people, right? In your family, you get rewards for certain things. You may have been born with 4 limbs and a house over your head, and then you have some challenges. Your dad is like this, your mum is like that. In your life, if you're going to take, I said it to some group last time, if you're going to take rewards, then take challenges. If you don't want challenges, don't take rewards. But this is the world that we live in. Your good karma is played out in your rewards. Your bad karma is played out in your challenges. But it's all played out from within you, out into the place that you see the world. The most important thing with this is pain. And the reason why this is written is for people that are suffering and going through difficulty within their personal world, is not to blame other people, not to shout at everyone, not to try and cut people out, because you're cutting out your own lesson. You're better off learning to handle them better. You're better off learning to handle yourself better, because you brought them there. And when you handle yourself better, they won't be there anymore. I mean, they won't have a problem for you, you won't feel their problem, and eventually they will even disappear. In your next lifetime, there won't be a person like that in your life. There won't be a situation. The only reason it's coming back is you never got rid of it. It's stuck in your samskara. So when you take a new birth, the universe pulls all those things around you, makes your samsara. That's your personal life, what you're going to go through now. For what reason, you'd have to figure out. That's the wisdom part of it. But that's your samsara. Some good and some bad. If you're born with all the wealth in the world, it means you're probably extremely generous in your love. You probably gave to people willingly and happily. And you were born with no worries about money. The yogi doesn't sit there blaming people or blaming the world for anything. He doesn't. He takes everything and understands that's the world he's made or she's made. And then you remember, the samskaras are scars. You only have a certain wall between you and complete dropping into depression or nervous breakdown. You don't have a wall that's there forever. So if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're going to get really close to falling. And then then the alarm bells are going to be loud. And then if you just don't listen, you become super stubborn about it, of course you're going to break through and drop. Then there's no hope for you. Then you're going to need a guru or a teacher or someone to reach in and grab you and drag you out again. So those little bells that are going on, don't blame other people for that. You've got to stop yourself and you've got to go quiet and look at it and say, that happened because there's something in my consciousness that has drawn that to me. What do I need to figure out? What God is always saying to us is, concentrate on how you react to everything. Whether it's forgiveness, whether it's love, whether it's non-reaction, whether it's truth of understanding, whether it's learning metaphysics, whether it's stilling your mind, whatever it is that you do, you go back. And this is why God gave us some of the greatest saints in the world, like Christ and Krishna and Buddha and so on, because some of them have gone through extreme things. Even people like the Gandhis and the Martin Luther Kings and the Mandelas in the recent history who've seen extreme things happen and lost lives and abuse of everything. I mean, we've seen some horrific things in the last 200 years. And still there's been forgiveness. Still there's been understanding. Still they haven't thrown the baby out with the bathwater. Because you've been through something terrible, you don't have to throw your entire consciousness out of the window with it. So it's one's ability to not throw the baby out with the bathwater, not to cut the nose off to spite the face, but to look at it and say, right, for some reason this has come into my pattern. For some reason, I don't know what it is, but it's here. And it's saying, there's a big step and it's this big, and I've never climbed a step like that, but I'm gonna have to climb a step like that today, because I can't stay down here. So whatever it takes, I must find it. Now, if you flip that around, and I'm telling you this way, the bigger your pain, the bigger the step that you have to go through, the bigger the growth. Right? So it's about mindsets, isn't it? The bigger the step, the bigger the growth. So you've got a big step to do, you've got to get a big ladder, but it means you're going to go big places. And that's the attitude of what we keep in Chi Kri is, you got a big step, that's a big step, get a big ladder. It's not about climbing that you've got the big step. And yes, I feel sorry for people that have big steps, but you've got to climb it. So all the compassion, all the love with it, but you climb the step, and end of the day, it's come from your samskara. For whatever reason, you didn't get rid of it. So if you're in a situation where bad things happen to you, you've got to forgive yourself. You cannot be angry at them, you cannot be angry at yourself, because you brought it. I'm an idiot, I'm this, I'm so stupid, I'm this, I'm that. People hurt themselves. Finally, after hating the world, self-abuse, is because they hate themselves, because intuitively they know they've effed up. Why am I in this situation? Why did I get these parents? Because of something I've done. You hate yourself. So you've got to forgive yourself, you've got to forgive the situation, you've got to forgive the people, and then you need the wisdom to also climb the step. That's taking it all in yourself and figuring out inside yourself. So, well, we've had this conversation for 10 years at Chi Kri in classes. Then of course, it's all about how you deal with things. You know, if someone asks you for metaphysical reasons, you give them. But the first thing you give is compassion. You make sure the person is okay. You make sure that they learn peace of mind. You make sure that they have someone to talk to, someone to turn to, someone to let it go from, some basic techniques to feel better. And then they will ask eventually the question, why? And you can say, well, sometimes in yogic text or in the tradition of metaphysics, they say that things knock on from lifetime to life. And they say, well, did I do something? We'll say, I don't know. Who knows what you've done? All we know now is that you're in a position like this, and we have to help you to move out of it. So you can't, because we don't know, but we can assume that something has happened, and something has happened. It may not be even a direct thing. It may not be this abuse for that abuse. It may be a completely different thing. But you can always try. And a lot of my teachings, I've taught people that sometimes you don't have to fix things. And it's a very important thing to remember, because we have a large consciousness, and sometimes you can have a whole cauldron of pain and emotion and difficult situations, but you don't have to put your flag there and your tent there and live there. You can just not live there. Some things you're not going to find an answer to. Some things, and what is an answer to it? What is the answer? You're going through this because you've done this in your last life. Now what are you going to do with yourself? Now feel guilty for that? Now feel like, where are you going to go with that consciousness? Sometimes it doesn't matter to find the answer to something. Sometimes it's better just to go forward into another more positive space and just live, put your tent down there and live from that point. So, and I've said this repeatedly over and over again, is the bigger the ego, the bigger the pain. So the more you're self-aware, the more you're going to feel your pain. And be careful, because a lot of people, when they're going through stuff, they're seeing for the first time their own ego, and it's massive, and the pains are huge and huge and huge. And you notice the situation stays the same, the answers are still not there, but as soon as they reduce the ego, suddenly the pain is gone. And that is a really interesting thing to remember as a teacher, that it's big egos that go through big difficulties. Of course, you do the sensible and intelligent things to protect yourself physically, whatever zones you have, more vigilance and all those types of things. But I think, again, if you can't, and I've said this probably again to you guys several times, if you can't make physical distance, you make mental distance, you make spiritual distance, you make emotional distance, you use distances in other ways, and you're in the same place, but you're not in the same place with them. So we have, and the reason God has made our minds like this is because He knows we get physically trapped. He knows that we get physically trapped in marriages and prisons and this, and then you go out this way with your consciousness. It's not there anymore, and you're watching the whole thing from a different space, and you understand it. And I've been through this several times in my life. I've had to zoom out and understand. Same body's going through the same things, same difficulties, same whatever, but I'm not there anymore. I'm now here, and I'm watching, and I'm adjusting. And then you see this thing down here is just the character in the drama. And all you're doing is you're standing at a video game controlling a character in a drama. Your only concern is how it's reacting to things, no actions. No actions matter in the drama. Death, disease, decay, nothing matters in the drama. All your controls are with God is, how is He reacting to it? How is He responding to it? What is He saying back? What are you doing back? It's a reaction game. Life is a full reaction game. It's not an action game. When you get to God and He talks to you and He sees and you present your actions, He'll throw them off the table and He'll say, I'm going to put all your reactions down. And you think, but I've done this, He said, woof, off the table. We're only concerned with your reactions to things. So it doesn't, and I'm talking to you purely metaphysically and spiritually because I can talk to you all. Nothing matters what you act. Whether you're a great teacher, whether you're broke, whether you're hurt, whether you're abused, how you react to it all. How do you respond to it all? Gandhi is such a great example. When Gandhi allowed himself and his followers to just take the abuse of the empire at that time, but not respond, but respond with forgiveness and love, and he managed to stop the abuse that was happening, and it stopped. But if he'd responded with war, it could have been a war of 100 years, with the nation of India all fighting and dying. Or, there's abuses everywhere. But response is in our hands. So it's a game of reactions only. Just a game of reactions. But isn't all games just games of reactions? You start a tennis match. All reactions. Something's happened. I can't control what happened, where the ball is going to come from. I just have to react. I don't know where it's going to come from. I just have to react. Everything is reactions. A football match starts. The only time it's an action is when the ball's in the middle of the start. They all start playing, and then it's all reactions. Very rarely do we ever have control of any action. Very rarely can we blame an action. Very rarely can we control an action. And if your entire life has been acted upon you, you're just reacting to things. So react well.